Mike, how you doing?
Hey, Paul. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Ross, how you guys doing?
Doing great, Mike. Good to talk with you. How happy are you that you got the marquee game of the weekend this week?
It is nice. It was the co-star for the week with the Green Bay, Arizona. That fizzled out a bit. I mean, what's been incredible about the league, and the matchups have been important and they've been close. But we haven't seen two teams with a winning record on Monday night in over a month. I mean, it's hard. It's been hard this year as we get down the stretch to find two teams with winning records playing each other, which speaks to how close the parity is in the league, but also the quality of play is it's just not what we've seen over the last 5 or 6 years. So this one hopefully will kind of set the table for Week 17 and some really good playoff games.
And Mike, I want to get to some of the storylines you're looking forward to that we're going to watch play out on the field tonight, but based off what's happened the last couple of days, got to tie in the Peyton Manning story,
Sure.
the report. What's creating more buzz there in Denver? The fact that there's so much to play for in tonight's game, or the reaction to the Al Jazeera report?
Well, no doubt the reaction to the report. That led the local newscasts here, as you would understand, last night. And then Peyton spoke with Lisa Salters yesterday, which is the only interview he's given on camera regarding that. So that got a lot of play here in the local news on Sunday of a holiday week. It's so complex with so many different layers. But I've covered Peyton since he came into the league, and I've never seen him react that way, with that much anger and frustration. And that is what you want to see if there's an athlete that you believe in. No matter, I don't know what the truth is. I believe Peyton Manning because he's been believable at every step of the way along the way. And it has mattered to him. I've had conversations with him. It matters what the image is and setting an image for kids. To see him react that forcibly to these reports is something that we haven't seen with many of the athletes who've been implicated in this kind of stuff. So for what it's worth, I'll take him at his word, considering his word's been good for 18 years, and the way he reacted was so immediate and so strong.
Mike, I know he's not playing, but do you think it has any impact on the team tonight whatsoever?
No, I don't think it does, Ross. I think what has an impact would be if Osweiler doesn't play well, what Kubiak does next week. So Peyton Manning worked out. Let's just get to the football part of this, because in that interview with Lisa, Peyton spoke as expansively as he has about his foot and the injury and everything else. And I'm not disregarding the other stuff that's been reported on, and I don't know if I can further that story anymore, but I don't think a lot was made of the football portion of this. We also saw him work out a little bit, and he looked pretty good. So the question's going to become for the Broncos, because the writing's on the wall that Brock Osweiler is their quarterback of the future, and they're trying to find out if he can do it now. Peyton wasn't healthy. He's been hurt. Will he be a backup? I'm sure if physically ready, he'll be ready to be the number two. The question then becomes, what if Osweiler struggles here? What if you're playing Week 17 to get into the playoffs? How do you go, and which road do you go? And also, once you're in the playoffs, obviously you'd much rather have Peyton Manning healthy and ready to back up Osweiler, as odd as that sounds. You'd rather have that than Trevor Siemian from Northwestern, who's taken one snap in his NFL career, and that was a kneel down last week when Osweiler was getting his shoulder checked on.
My gut feeling for the rest of the season, no matter how long the season lasts for the Broncos, would you be more surprised if Peyton Manning did play again this year for Denver, or if he didn't?
More surprised if he did, because it would mean Osweiler, and let's just take injury out of it. Obviously, injury would change that in terms of Osweiler. I think they're ready to go down the road with Osweiler here and just see what he's got. They've got to make a decision here. Osweiler's rookie contract is done after this year. They need to know going forward. Peyton is certainly not their quarterback of the future. Osweiler, I believe, is. I think he's shown well at times here. But now they need to see him in the biggest games under the biggest pressure, get a good sense of this. Remember, this organization did that with Jay Cutler when he was a rookie, way back when it feels like. So I think this is the way they're going. Elway drafted him. Elway's in charge. Elway's best pal, Kubiak, is the head coach. I believe you put all those things together, and Brock Osweiler is the guy going forward. And unless there's an injury, in my opinion, I think he remains the quarterback.
So that said, Mike, do you think Peyton plays next year, or do you think we'll never see him play football again?
You never say never, because you don't know what an athlete. I thought he'd be done after last year, honestly. But as he worked out, he was ready to go. And he looked really good at times this year. Just think of the Green Bay game, which just doesn't seem all that long ago. That was November 1st. He looked great in that game coming off the bye, and they won 29-10. I think given the emotional pullback from the proximity to the season, if there's time to think about it, his body hasn't gotten through last year. His body hasn't gotten through this year. You're not getting younger. I think at this point he would probably move on. The question is he going to be the number one quarterback in Denver? If that's the case, then I think there would be a conversation. Do we see Peyton Manning doing what Favre did and go find another place to play? I don't know if we see that. So my gut would be no.
Paul Burmeister and Ross Tucker sitting in for Dan Patrick here this morning, talking to Mike Tirico, who will, of course, be in the booth tonight for the Bengals and the Broncos. Let's take it a step further with the quarterbacks. In a normal game, or if it went as expected for this one, you'd walk into a production meeting, Mike, and you'd be talking to Andy Dalton on one side and later talking to Peyton Manning. We're all in the getting-to-know process with Brock Osweiler and A.J. McCarron.
Yeah.
If you could, based off of what you've learned off your interaction here the last couple of days, compare the personalities before we get to watch them play on the field tonight.
Sure. Your point's interesting, Paul, because we've sat here for 5-6 minutes and talked about the number 3 inactive quarterback tonight, really, for Denver, but it is one of the all-time greats at the position, and the news is obvious. So here's Osweiler. Osweiler is smooth. He gets it. He understands the job. He understands following Peyton, having Kubiak as his coach, having Elway as his boss. He understands all of this. His first half against Pittsburgh was really good. And we know it has been documented. The second half struggles, no points in the last 3 games, is holding this team back. And they know it too. And Kubiak's done everything from trying to script plays for the second half to just do it by feel. They're just trying to find an answer. So the personality is there to be the lead quarterback. The understanding of the game is just a maturing process. You can prepare for 3.5 years all you want, but now it's go time, and there are going to be adjustments, just as you guys had during your playing careers, as you guys have had during your radio and TV careers, as I've had during my TV career. You're a lot better in year 3, 4, or 5 than you are in game 3, 4, or 5. And I think that'll happen with Osweiler. I think the whole package is there. It's just not ready to be fully thrown out there. Where it's interesting here, it's a championship-level defense. And you've got a team that seems to be ready to win. The one place, guys, and I think just to get to the game tonight where I'd be a bit concerned, is where you've undoubtedly been talking all year, Denver up front. They've got 3 players in their first year, and they're playing as good a defensive line as there is in the league. Carlos Dunlap, Geno Atkins, Michael Johnson, Domatop Peko. What Cincinnati's done up front is really good. A.J. McCarron, confident. He's been on these big stages. He's got that. Sometimes some feel that confidence is too much. In the game against San Francisco, I truly think he managed the game, but that's fine, and that's understood by him, and I think it's understood by everyone in Cincinnati. Both of these teams have defenses that can win a game with a backup quarterback because those backup quarterbacks they're facing are likely to make mistakes. And I think the bigger mistakes that are made are going to determine which team loses this game as opposed to guys making plays to win the game from the quarterback position.
You know, Mike, one of the reasons why I think you're as good as anybody that does your job is your understanding of the rules, game situations, clock management, decisions, etc. Curious to get your take on Belichick's decision to kick in overtime yesterday. We haven't even mentioned it on the show yet, but obviously that's been a huge topic of conversation as well.
It was interesting. It was kind of jarring at first, and I think it's funny if you go back and look at Twitter. Everybody just took all these shots at Matthew Slater, thinking it was a screw up, and in fact, it was a Belichick decision. You understand in principle why to try to get a shorter field, because I think there was concern there at the pass rush and what was happening to Brady, what was happening to their offense, even though they did tie the game at 20. I personally would always want to give Brady and Gronk the first chance with the ball. Now, hindsight's very easy to say that. You've got to be really sure in your job to make that decision. Now, I remember when the Bears played in Champaign while Soldier Field was getting redone. Marty Morningwig was the coach of the Lions, and he decided to take the wind in overtime instead of the ball. And that's with the old overtime rules. And I looked at my father-in-law and I said, they're going to lose this game, and he won't be their head coach. You just can't do that if you're a coach who's not one with your name carved in the wood over the office door. If you're one of those, the locker room slides where they slide your name in, slide it out, if you're one of those head coaches where they've got a little slide with your name in front of the head coach's office, you can't make that call. Belichick can, and what I love about the Patriots is all those players, even if privately they're going, man, what was he thinking? They all come out and say, hey, Coach thought it was the right thing to do, was the right thing to do, which means more times than not, they've been led down that road, and it's been the right road. So you wouldn't see anybody else do it. It surprised me, but the one guy who can get away with it tried to get away with it. And really what it did is it keeps these two teams, Cincy and Denver, alive, guys, for number one seed. They're both alive for it.
It helps your game tonight. Not that it needed that much more help. Finally, Mike, about 30 seconds. I always like watching where you're going to end up. You're in the booth for Monday Night Football. College football coming up this week. You're heavily involved with the NBA. What are you doing in the next few days?
I am fired up. My son's playing a soccer tournament in Orlando. I'm red-eye out of here. I'll get to watch him play tomorrow and hopefully the next day after that, then a couple days of vacation. And then after that, we get the College Football Championship on radio. We'll have a wild card game, an NBA game, and a college hoop game. So I'm going to take like 4 days to catch my breath and then go tour America again for a good couple of weeks.
Hey, we have great jobs, but we miss too much at home. So enjoy that time on the sideline, Mike. I know you're going to love it.
I will. Actually, during our interview, my wife's texting me updates of the morning game, so I can't wait to get there. Thanks, guys.
I know that's it. Mike Tirico, thank you very much.
Yeah, Happy New Year, guys. Happy and healthy.
You too. Enjoy the game tonight. That's Mike Tirico on the call tonight for Monday Night Football.